Welcome to Beyond the Briefing. I'm Shannon Marvell. Just over 7 months of Caley Jags not knowing if Inverness Caley Thistly will recover from administration. As of today, the future looks bright again as the CVA is agreed. I am here with Andrew Henderson, who's just come back from the press call. How are you?
I'm all right. It's been a hectic few hours, I'm not going to lie to you, but I think very well worth it for the news that we got.
Just before we go and listen to the press conference, could you explain briefly what a CVA means?
So a CVA is something that clubs, particularly in a football context, have put very, very plainly. It's a mechanism for football clubs getting out of administration by agreeing a deal with the people they owe money to pay back at least some of that money.
Your experience in this press conference today, how did you find it? Did everything seem confident to you?
It was very positive. This has been in the works for a few weeks, obviously. Alan Savage was named the preferred bidder back in April. This has been in the works for a wee while. And you could really see that everybody was pretty relieved, but very optimistic now about what the future might hold. With everything being done, it's just a case of getting those final little bits of formalities over the line. Caley are out of administration for all intents and purposes.
And we won't keep you guys waiting. Here is the press coverage.
Afternoon, everyone. Thank you again for attending another press conference on the football club. I'm hoping with a bit of confidence this will be the last time that I'm sitting in front of you discussing the football club. I'm going to give you a bit of an update as to what's happened today, then maybe pass to Alan to make any comments that he would like to make. But as previously advised, we proposed the company voluntary arrangement, a CVA, to the company's creditors and members. We held two meetings today, the creditors meeting in the morning and the members meeting in the afternoon. I'm delighted to advise that at both meetings of the creditors and members that attended and voted, the CVA proposals were passed 100% in both meetings, which is great news for the club. What that means is that effectively brings the administration process to an end. The club will now operate under a voluntary arrangement for a period that we expect to last for a maximum of 28 days. In that period, the club will be controlled and managed by Alan and his team, which again is great news, allows Alan to start putting plans in place with his team to take the club forward. All I would really like to say is obviously totally delighted that this has happened, and give a big thanks to the staff that are here, Alan and his team. Great from the playing squad. I think it's maybe been forgotten in all of this that they started 15 points behind, and with a very young squad managed to claw that back and survive in the division, which is great news. The other conditions that I think everybody's aware of attaching to Alan's offer are well advanced. We don't envisage any issues there at all. All the loan creditors, which total about 3.5 million, have signed the agreements to write off their debts, which again is great news, and we're very appreciative of that. The lease to get the car parks back to the club is well advanced with the solicitors and the council, and we've made massive progress in terms of all the seeding of the shares. So, as I say, fantastic news, hugely appreciative of Alan and all that he's done, and wish the club every success. Look forward to pushing things forward over the next 28 days and seeing the club go on and flourish. I'll now pass to Alan, and Alan, if there's any comments that you wish to add there.
Yeah, from my point of view, so it's a big day for the club to not be liquidated. There's a strong possibility last year. It's a big job and a big responsibility, and I'm really looking forward to it, to bring the club under control, to bring governance, order, and to let the playing side of things from the Charlie Christie, Graham Bennett and Kel proceed and try to get us in the championship through next season, using the academy players, local Highland League players, some other Scottish players, and maybe a couple of marquee players. And the club will be a football club, no distraction, completely focused. I can field any questions if you like.
Congratulations, Alan. I mean, has it been a long haul? Has it felt like this has been a kind of drawn out saga for you, or in the grand scheme of things, has it happened quite quickly? Has it all come together at the end quite quickly?
I think I'm not familiar with administration, and BDO have conducted it. They follow processes and governance themselves, and just have to be patient that we get the right outcome, which we have. All credit to James and his team, done a great job as far as I'm concerned, and we're on a good path. Everything that I asked for, I've got, and I'm looking forward to running the football club for the benefit of obviously all the people who work here, the players, and the local community, and all the stakeholders.
Many people will see you as the saviour of Inverness Caley Thistle. I don't know how that sits with you, but what is it about the team? Why have you hung in and applied so much of your own money into this club?
Well, I think there's a like an epiphanal moment when I came in and sort of got involved sort of in some of the detail that was going on. And I spoke to Dale, the groundsman, and he reminded me that Tommy Cummings, who passed, and his ashes are on the pitch, had told Dale that Alan Savage would never let the club go. So that was a big responsibility. A great character, Tommy, and it struck me that it means a lot to a lot of people, and I felt duty bound to make sure the club continued. So everybody can thank Tommy Cumming.
Tommy's not a man you would ever say no to anyway.
Well, he's hard to duck and dive round, yeah.
The fans have obviously been backing you since you returned to the club. How important have they been throughout this process?
Absolutely brilliant, and especially some of the away games and the chant they made up about the 15-point deduction struck a chord in me, and we proved everybody wrong. And let's hope we can get over the 5-point deduction next year. The fans have been fantastic. I hear that lots of people are going to renew the season tickets. We want more people here. We're trying to do things to the stadium now. The singing section is going to be a stand-in. We're going to put a roof over them. So we're trying to make the experience of the club better, make people welcome.
As far as the administration process is concerned, obviously the leagues put restrictions on the club. Do you know if that just immediately gets lifted, or is there still a process to go with that?
There's a little bit of a process we have to go through with the SPFL, but we're working on that and we expect that to be resolved in the next week or so.
They're already talking to players about signing. Charlie will confirm that, but the window only opens on the 16th of June. Yeah. So I'm not sure when it closes, but we'll be able to put a decent squad together. We're going to be full time, and we're going to bring players in that we think can add value in the right positions, and they've got complete control over that. My job is to make sure that we've got funds available. We recently agreed a sponsorship for the stadium naming rights for 3 years. And we've got a big company coming in to do advertising. So we're getting revenue in already. And we've been promised by lots of companies that when we got out of administration, that they'd put their hands in the pockets. So I'm looking forward to seeing that happen.
Can you give details of the stadium sponsorship?
It's a company, Saracens PSG, a company from Inverness, but they operate in Aberdeen. And we've got a tentative agreement. It's agreed that will happen, and it's very, very positive. I think people want to see the club free of all the things that have been happening in previous regimes. And all credit to them. They did try to make money for the club, and I won't criticise that at all. And we want to wipe the slate clean. But I think people are seeing that the club now is going to be a football club with good intentions. Nessie and Nessa. The mascots are being made in Manchester as we speak. We're going to try and bring a better experience here. Maybe have a cafeteria, start the North Coast 500 from here, maybe a park and ride scheme to the castle. A few ideas. We're going to have like a mini ironworks at the back of the North Stand. So we've got good ideas to raise money and bring people, especially kids, into the process. Ladies football teams, every aspect of what we do is about the community now. And trying to get into the championship by playing good football.
Did you say how many ironworks? That sounds quite significant in terms of, is it a licensed premises or live venue?
Well, that's a genuine idea. I'm going to put a stage at the back of the stand and put a roof over it, and we can invite groups to play there. We've got catering, we can serve drinks, so there's no reason why we can't hold things through the summer. and try to raise revenue that way. But we need to get people here to see what we're trying to do. There's a disabled access point, at the gates over there by the north stand. We're going to get that tarmac. You've been rolling wheelchairs over rubble and things. So, put better serveries in, the more accessible serveries in. Just look after the fans be able to serve a drink at half time. So we're trying to say, look, if you help us out, we'll help you out. And we're helping them out first. We're doing things positive. I'm spending money already in the belief that we would get out of administration, which we got out of today.
Alan, I think you kind of held off having any official title in as much as your role with the club while all this has been going on. Is that going to change now? What will happen as your role here?
I've stuck with Don Corleone. No, I'll be chairman.
Official as of today.
Well, I've not signed the forms yet, so yeah, as soon as I can sign the forms, then I'll send you a copy.
We can call him acting chairman as of today.
Acting chairman as of today.
Alan, you said that when you stood upstairs before that you were looking for 100% of the shareholders. Did you reach that figure yet?
We've reached the figures of 93 point something %.
Yeah.
And there's a guy climbing up the Alps somewhere with a lot of shares, but we can't get hold of him to confirm what he's doing. Yeah. And that puts it to bed. But I've got complete control now, and I can do what I like. So that's the way that I'm never good working with committees. I'm better off working on my own.
Yeah.
So if you can't get hold of that guy up the Alps, it's not going to scupper legs going forward.
Well, the sniper's over there now.
Alan, will you be beefing up your courtroom, or it wouldn't be a bulky one? I think you've identified with Gasser Bennett or whatever to come in and...
Yeah, as he said specifically to me today, don't call him Grasser, call him Graham. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a board that meets every quarter, and we're going to have a committee that works, the steering committee, and certainly as far as the board's concerned, George Moody will be on the board. Will be from the supporters' point of view, and maybe 3 or 4 others. We'll have a steering committee that meets maybe every month on a Friday. We discuss the issues, people can have to say, and then I'll go away and make the decision.
Could I check something else, Alan? I got called today, just someone saying that some past staff had not been paid. Would that tally with the final dividends to be paid to creditors?
As far as I know, all staff have been paid.
Right.
In terms of any idea?
Ex-football staff, sorry, ex-football staff.
That's an ongoing matter with the PFA, so it's probably unfair
It's not an issue. It's just
it's not an issue in terms of what we're doing today.
Maybe fell into the
No. Whatever the rules are, I think what we're going to do going forward is we're like honest brokers. If people look at the relationship Orion Group has got with its suppliers and its staff, we've not missed a beat over 40 years. Yeah. Don't owe anybody any money, and that will continue in this football club. People can see that I spent £30,000 on player injuries. We just granted Aaron Doran a testimonial in the Ross County game, which is being organised. So we want fair play and to be seen to be honest brokers, and hopefully that will reflect in the way that the players, current players, and attracting new players, they can play football knowing that they're being looked after.
Yeah.
So yes, agents have just been waiting for today and the green light for the manager to make signings. I suppose
No, we've already been signed to people. We've got people lined up, and we've got like an intent to sign. But we can't sign anybody for June the 16th anyway. So it's academic. It's we'll follow the rules, we'll follow the processes, and we'll meet the people. Highland Regional Council, got rules regulated to with leases in. And things like that, for example. We've met people from Highland Regional Council who've been exceptionally helpful from top to bottom. So we want to form good relationships with everybody for the betterment of the club.
I think in the past, Ali, you've mooted the idea of potentially having discussions about moving to a different site. Does all this work around the stadium show that you're committed to the Caledonia Stadium go forward?
I think it would make one of the things we need to do. We need to change to LEDs on the floodlights, because the LEDs on the floodlights cost like some kind of transformer that costs £4,000 a month. and you've got to crank the lights up, 4 hours before you play. Whereas was it Stenhouse Mill recently, they got a grant for LED plug lights and just turn them on and that's it. So the stadium will be better shared, because we only really use it once a fortnight for the home game. So we're looking at increasing that, and I'll treat the stadium as if we're never moving. So it will be improved and made better. It doesn't need a lot. It needs obviously things doing to it that haven't been done for years, and that will be done. But it's likely that we get put together with other sports and other facilities, and used every day of the week. So we've got an open mind for that. But as far as I'm concerned, we're staying here, and people will be treated properly and enjoy the experience.
And James, I guess from a BDO point of view, is that it now? Is it as far as your involvement with Caley Thistly?
We've as I say, we're in the company voluntary arrangement stage now, so we'll have a period of maybe maximum 28 days where we just finalise the creditors' claims and pay it. But yes, after that 28-day period, then I'll have no locus over Caledonia Thistle other than watching the results with interest.
You mentioned before about how obviously you've been looking at Caley Thistle's results in the future, and you had been. What's it been like working with the club compared to the other clubs you've worked in the past?
I wouldn't like to necessarily compare, but what I would say about the club is that it's a fantastic bunch of people. I think probably, doing the job I do, you get involved in administration scenarios all the time. And in this case, other than the people that we sadly have to make redundant, we've had one person leave on a voluntary basis. So I think that speaks volumes, given the months of uncertainty that we've been through, that people have stayed with it, which to me really demonstrates the feeling for the club. I've got nothing but praise for the people here. They've been absolutely fantastic. Any other questions? Just like to thank the press as well for being so cooperative with us. I know I said at the start that we would update you when we were ready, and you've been as good as gold in terms of doing that, so that is very much appreciated as well.
So some really interesting things coming out of that press conference. What Alan Savage wants to do with Caley Thistle. It sounds like he's looking more about what he can do to the public as well.
Yeah, that's been a big theme of his time bankrolling the club during administration, is trying to reconnect with the local community. And obviously you just heard a load of different ways that he's hoping to do that. I think we've seen evidence that that's working so far, and now that the CVA has been agreed and all these plans could now kick on another level, hopefully we'll see the fan enthusiasm kick up another notch too.
Exactly. Well, Hendo, I'm sure you and the guys in the sports team can have a wee break before the season starts again.
Oh, we need a wee nap, definitely.
You've been listening to Beyond the Briefing, the stories behind the headlines, diving deeper into the biggest stories in the Highlands. This podcast is brought to you by Highland News and Media. It's hosted and produced by Shannon Marvell. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to subscribe and share with others who care about local journalism.